What's that? No Steven? No Megan? Mike's doing the sting? Yep. Find out more coming up in just a moment on Two Geeks and a Microphone.
Hello there. So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
All right. I guess I'll talk first since Steven is not here. But instead of Steven filling in, I guess, we have Tom Hutchison. He is the owner, operator, and main story writer for Big Dog Inc. And he is celebrating BD15, which we're going to talk about a little bit more later on the show. Good morning, Tom. How are you, sir?
Hello. Doing well. Doing well.
Awesome. So before the show, we kind of got into a football rant. Tom is a Chargers fan. I myself, as most of our audience knows, is a huge Cowboys fan. Yes, another season, and we're doing horrible. We are in second place. I don't know if it's anything to brag about because we only got 3 wins, which is sad to have 3 wins and be in second place in our conference. But Tom, being a big Chargers fan, he's giving me a hard time because my Cowboys kind of suck this year. But you know what? I'm sticking with them. I will be a Dallas Cowboys fan for life. I've been that way since I was about 7 years old. So here I am. Go Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, barring the Eagles collapsing. But
oh yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, I agree with that.
Yeah,
but then it comes to, can your Chargers beat the Eagles?
Well, that would be the Super Bowl.
Well, oh yeah, you're right. That's true.
So I'll take that theory. I'll take that theory.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't
Although no, actually, they do play the Eagles on the schedule this year. That is true. They do. I think it's like week.
Oh, do you guys play the Eagles?
15 or something. We play the Eagles. So
that'll be a game I root for the Chargers because I hate the Eagles. Oh my god,
that's one of those games on the schedule that I have giant question marks about. Like I really just don't know what would happen because the Eagles are not great. They're not what they were last year. The Chargers are week to week. You don't know what they're going to be. Just from injuries alone, you don't know what they're going to be. So I think it's going to be a really interesting game. And yeah, it could be one of those games that could sort of change your division if they should end up winning.
Oh yeah, I don't foresee us making it to the playoffs whatsoever. I don't even see us coming close to making the playoffs this year. So I don't know. I don't know what to do for football this year. I'm going to ride out the season and wait for UFL to return and then root for my Battlehawks from there. So
well, that was my friend of mine is he's from New York, so he's a Jets fan, and I was by week 5, I was like, well, you don't have to worry about the NFL anymore. You can just erase that from your schedule and move on with your life. While the rest of us struggle with win and lose and win and lose and win and lose, and just so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, we had people writing off the Cowboys week 1, so
yeah. Yeah. I think that was a little crazy, but you're on another coach, and it's just it seems like you have some pieces that are Dak's not like a bad. One of the funniest things, Dak's not like a bad quarterback, but like somebody was putting stats together to compare him to other Cowboys quarterbacks.
Oh, please do not say Romo.
Yeah. Oh, through this X amount of time, however much it was, their stats were almost identical all the way through. And I was like, yeah, he's just another Tony Romo. And Tony Romo wasn't a bad quarterback either, but it's coaching. It's just mistakes. You don't have that one piece. You don't have that Emmitt Smith. You don't have, you know what I mean?
Yes.
the O-line. Obviously, everybody talks about the O-line. That's the Chargers' biggest weakness right now, is everybody on the offensive line is dead, basically. And then Joe Alt comes back this week, and suddenly we look like we're alive again. So, we're just praying for the health of our team to sort of be like, if we can just be in the mix at the end, we'll be okay. But everybody's dying, it seems. So yeah.
All right, we'll move on from football. Even though Steven's not here, Steven will be telling us let's move on. Let's move on. We're done with sports talk. So, although his kid he's a big high school football player, so Steven should be just as much into football. And then his wife and his kid are both into Kansas City Chiefs. So I hate the Chiefs. Being from the St. Louis area, I get tired of hearing about the Chiefs. It's like, oh my God. So anyway, we'll move away from football. I don't have any geeky news, so I'm going to switch to Geekdar real quick and talk about something fun that just got released.
With the radar, sir.
What's wrong with it?
I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps.
The what? The what? And the what?
You know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps.
That's not all he's lost.
Oh, let me go to the right panel. There we go. See, Steven's not here. He usually operates all this stuff. I don't do this. All right, let me see. I'm going to also try to share a screen here. Something I may have talked about this previously. I can't remember, but it is now available to purchase as of yesterday, as of Halloween. So we're gonna talk about it here a minute. So Atari, I don't know what company owns Atari now, but Atari has released a new version of the Atari 2600 console, and it is the 50th anniversary Pac-Man edition, which excites me because Pac-Man is one of my favorite games, all-time favorite games. Ms. Pac-Man is probably my all-time favorite game, but of course, it started with Pac-Man. But as you can see, the console is bright yellow, Pac-Man yellow, and just a fabulous color. I love it. And then the faceplate on the front of the console has the Pac-Man and Ghost icons, and then of course the Atari logo. And when you power the console up, that all lights up. It's really super cool. And then they come with colored joysticks. You get one when you buy the main package. You get the console, you get the joystick, and you get the new Atari Pac-Man Double Play is what they're calling it, game cartridge. But then the joysticks, they've got joysticks to match the colors of each of the ghosts. So here's the red one. And then, of course, they've got the ghost icon on the top. And, of course, you don't need all of those joysticks. I mean, technically, for an Atari system, you only need 2 joysticks. But I think it's more for collectors just to have fun with it. But and then the cool thing is the game cartridge has the original Atari 2600 Pac-Man. Yes, the horrible blocky Pac-Man.
Gunk, 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 gunk.
Yep. With the wafers instead of the dots. As horrible as it is, I still like to play it. It's fun. I think it's fun. But they have that version, and then there's dip switches on the back of the cartridge, and then you can switch over to it. I guess it's basically the 7800 version of Pac-Man, so it's which
was better. Yeah.
It's very close to the arcade, so you have both of those versions on it. And then when you go into, I was watching. I watch another YouTube channel called Gen X Gamer or something like that. Anyway, and he goes over a lot of Gen X consoles and stuff like that. And he was showing, so there's the 7800. There's a view of that one. he was showing the system off because he had just gotten his yesterday, and you can actually play the arcade version on this too. So that one's available. And then there's a bonus feature which will give you different mazes to the arcade version or to the Atari 2600 version, which I thought was kind of cool. So, but it is available to purchase now as of yesterday, as of Halloween. Right now I don't have the extra cash. Otherwise I would be ordering me this sucker. I love it. So that's my Geekdar for today. And let me see.
Charger yellow Atari. Thanks for showing me that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, nice little comeback there. I didn't even think about that. Charger yellow. No, it's Pac-Man yellow, not Charger yellow. Oh, dang it. I just messed up the screen again. Guess what? I'm just getting rid of the background. Bye. We're going to have a boring gray background. I don't care. So anyway, that's my Geekdar. Like I said, no geeky news this morning. Tom, I don't know if you Geekdar is kind of like our show and tell for nerds. So I don't know if you got anything on your plate that you want to talk about. Other than what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, I've been buying tons of movies. I collect Blu-rays and stuff. I'm a movie guy, but I'm also looking forward to. I think it's next week is Predator Badlands releases. So that's what's on my next sort of like that's right there, man. So I'm heading down to Akron Comic-Con next weekend too. So I'll actually be on the road Thursday. So I'm kind of hoping that when I get there Thursday night, I can find a theater that's got it for Thursday. If not Friday, because Friday is basically just set up, so I can go set up, get it done, and then go see the movie before the con starts. So that's what I'm kind of looking for right now.
Okay, cool. All right. Did you watch the Predator? Oh, the animated one. I think it was on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I hated it.
Really? You didn't like it?
Hated it. But let me also qualify that I hated it with I hate most animation stuff nowadays. I really have not seen anything animation wise that I'm like, oh, that was like really good. Like I remember somebody was like, oh, you got to watch Blue Eyes Samurai. So I tried that. I lasted 20 minutes. I don't remember. It's odds and ends of things. They're like, you got to watch that. I'm like, I know I'm not going to like that. I know it's not going to work. But Predator, I've really kind of gotten into the Predator stuff and the Alien stuff as well. I'm kind of a late comer to both of them. So I've been, sort of getting more into them. So I was like, oh, okay. Like I heard people talking about it. I thought it was a video game. So I was like, well, that doesn't matter to me. And then,
I can see where you would think that.
Yeah. And they were like, no, it's like a movie. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then let me see. But no, I was Steven skipping through the whole thing. It just,
nice.
Like, nope. Don't care. Don't care. So nah, so I think here's the thing. I think if it was an actual movie, like a live action thing, I think I would have vibed on it. I think I would have been like, because conceptually, I like what was happening. But the animation side of it, the voice acting, that's where I really struggle with a lot of that stuff. It doesn't register with me much anymore, the animation stuff. So I wish that it had been like a real movie. I think I would have really liked it. But as an animation, I just don't connect to animation anymore.
See, I'm an animated guy. I love animation. So
I still like I still like the old stuff that I came up with. Like I can watch the old stuff that I come up with, but for whatever reason, something happened at some point in the last, 20 years where there's a direct disconnect where I'm like, I just can't care about this animation stuff anymore. And I don't know. Disney? I haven't. Well, I know that part of it was the advent of sort of the digital animation that we get now, like the Pixar stuff, things like that. I know that was part of it because I don't really like a lot of those movies. Some of them are okay, but most of them I really am just like, I just don't really care. So it could be that, but I also know part of it is the voice acting. Like the voice acting for modern stuff, it just isn't great for me.
Oh man, we might have to fight on that one.
It's just not great. Now, not to say that there aren't good people that do good elements, but I've seen so much where I'm just like, I don't want to hear what I'm hearing. This is not working for me. It's not connecting with the animation. It's not, the voice isn't connecting with the character to me or whatever. And of course there's always exceptions, but so, and when you're talking about like the Pixar stuff, they have like big name actors doing the voice acting and stuff. So usually that's not a problem for me, because I'm like, these people know what the hell they're doing. This is working, but the overall product just is not connecting to me, with rare exception. But I don't know, something happened, because I remember distinctly like seeing like The Lion King, and I was like, this is incredible. And then I have no memory of like animation stuff giving me that feeling again, sort of almost ever. Down the line.
What would you say the last animated film that you really enjoyed was?
I remember liking Bolt.
Oh, okay.
But I was also disappointed in Bolt because it was a bait and switch. Like, you thought you were seeing a Superdog movie, but he wasn't really a Superdog, right? Because he was an actor dog. But I liked it. I was like, there's something here. This is okay. I liked it. And then I did like the first Despicable Me.
Despicable Me was fun.
The first one was unbelievably good. I mean, just like, this is spectacular. The beginning of the Minions, now they're just played out, but the beginning of the Minions, Steve Carell as Groot, the kids were great. Like, Despicable Me, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So that's probably the last one that I was really like, oh, you did something really good here. This was top notch. And I don't remember when that came out. That's got to be 20 years.
Oh shoot. Yeah. It's been a long time. I can't remember when that came out either. Oh my gosh. And I don't have Megan here. Megan usually is the one who jumps on the internet and tries to find that information.
Yeah. Just since then, it's just like, it doesn't matter. I've tried to watch some of this anime stuff, like My Hero Academia and, odds and ends of things that people are like, oh, you got to try this. I'm like, okay, let me try this. I'm like, no, I can't.
I'm not a big fan of the anime stuff. Now, wait a minute. What about Invincible?
Invincible, of course. Yes. Invincible. Again, like we've talked about on the show, I like Invincible a lot. My only sort of like, to that is that I already know the story. I know what's coming, right? So for me, you don't get like that, like, holy cow, I've never seen this before, because I've seen it before. But really good, great adaptation, good voice acting, stuff like that. So yes, Invincible, that's obviously
that's the exception to the rule.
That's the modern exception to everything. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to our childhood,
what
would be, let's say, your top 3 favorite cartoons of our childhood?
I mean, I watched all the normal stuff. Like, I was watching Scooby-Doo. I was watching, oh my God. I mean, whatever the Saturday morning stuff was, right? So there was like the Harlem Globetrotters stuff, and there was all kinds of crazy, wacky races, and
the wacky races,
Spider-Man, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, right? So I watched all of that stuff. In hindsight, I'm trying to think of I generally look at it as like, okay, what's in my collection of DVDs and Blu-rays, because those are clearly the ones that topped out for me. So, G.I. Joe, 100% G.I. Joe, the original, like not when it became that sort of weird third season garbage, but like that first 3 seasons or two or 3 seasons, that original 2 or 3 seasons, it's really good. Very, very watchable, still holds up much better than Transformers. I love Transformers as well.
You mean much more better
than the Transformers. Yeah. First season Transformers is pretty good. Second season's okay. After the movie, it wanes really hard and just is not great. But the first season's really good. And then there's a lot of things that I go back to, like Voltron and Thundercats and stuff like that. And like, these were kind of good at the time, but a lot of that does not hold up. So it would probably be like G.I. Joe, which I think holds up really well. It would be Robotech across all three adaptions that they brought over and remolded to become one storyline through three different animes that they jammed together.
Okay.
So it'd be Robotech. And then I love, still to this day, Battle of the Planets.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Which is mind-blowingly epic for its time. And I think, again, if it were to be played today with good voice acting, I think people would latch onto it really, really well. I think it would be fantastic. So those would be kind of my three sort of standards that would hold up the tent pole of whatever else is underneath the animation stuff. Like, I like Mask, but it's not great. It's good
I never
noise.
watched Mask.
Mask is fun, but it's really just kind of every episode is the same. Like they're completely the same every episode. All of its beats, all of its purposes, all of its, it's just the same every time. So it's good noise. It's good background noise because the sounds are good and, things like that. But it's not a great series at all. But I watched Mask, like, God, what else is, I know I have other things poking around in here. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely Robotech, Battle of the Planets, G.I. Joe. Those are my cores.
All right, here, I got to show you something. Since you brought up Battle of Planets, that is one of my all-time favorites too. But at Galaxy Con, I got to meet Seven's Arc 7.
Well, and the dog is right there too.
Yeah, and the dog is right there too. Oh, It was great. We were walking through. That's actually the R2 Builders Club. That was their spot.
Yep.
And I'm walking by, and I love R2 units. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. But I freaked when I saw Seven's Arc 7. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Seven's Arc 7. And my daughter's like, what the heck is Seven's Arc 7? She had no clue. I was like, no, I got to get a picture. And I went and stood next to him. And then all of a sudden, Seven's Arc 7 starts playing the theme music of Battle of the Planets. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then he starts talking in the Seven's Arc 7 voice. And I was freaking out, man. It was great. The 7-year-old me was just in heaven at that moment. It was so cool. Yeah, that was one of my absolute favorites too. I loved that cartoon. That was
well, cool. And Seven's Arc 7 is made for America too. Like, that was not part of Gatchaman in Japan. Seven's Arc 7 and the dog and all that kind of stuff was all made to fill time because they were editing Gatchaman down for some of the violence, and they were cutting things out, so they needed to fill time on the episodes, so they created Seven's Arc 7.
Not to mention Star Wars had become a huge hit, so basically they're like, how can we create our own R2D2, more or less, because I mean that's all Seven's Arc 7 is R2D2 with arms.
Yep.
And he talks, R2 doesn't talk, R2 beeps, so they're practically the same droid. Which made total sense that the R2 Builders Club would build something like that. I was just like, oh, sure. I love it. So, yeah, unfortunately, they didn't have an actual R2. They had, like some of the RD, all the different R2 units and stuff, but they didn't actually have R2D2 there. Of course, New York Comic Con was going on at the time, too, at that same weekend. So they probably had R2D2 over at New York because, that's a bigger con than St. Louis. Anyway, so Seven's okay. That's an interesting question. Since you're a Battlestar fan, who's your favorite character out of the main 5?
Oh,
Jason,
dude,
Mark.
I grew up with that when I was 7. It's Princess. I mean, it's
Oh, really?
that's the earliest. That's probably the earliest sort of like pop culture crush that I could remember.
Wow. See,
Um,
at 7 years old, I don't think I had a crush on her per se.
no, but you understand what I'm saying. Like
Yeah, no,
there
I
was
get it.
something was different about Princess than about a lot of other characters. Now you had Daphne at the time too with Scooby Doo.
Right.
That's definitely like that was a moment for me too. Is like Daphne, especially like the red hair, because like that was a different thing that you didn't see red hair all the time. So it's like, oh, there's like a girl with red hair. Like that's something. Um, I was watching a movie last night and for Halloween called Mad Monster Party, and it's an old puppet. It's like if you guys remember the Rudolph shows and
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
puppet stuff. So it's Rankin and Bass. It's the same people, but they made a monster movie. It's called Mad Monster Party, and so it's all puppets and stop motion and all that. And they have a redhead character in there called Francesca as well. So it's sort of like as soon as I saw her again last night, I was like, yeah, I remember watching this when I was like 8. So I clearly have this like I can check back to where the redhead element sort of became a thing in my life. It was like Francesca and it was like Daphne and those characters popped out because they had that red hair. So it's very, very different. But uh but yeah, with Princess, she was sort of, you had like Wonder Woman as like a superhero doing stuff,
Uh-huh.
kicking people and so on. So she was kind of like to me at a similar like Wonder Woman level because she was like a superhero. She was like doing crazy stuff and jumping off buildings and flying around and
And
so
she had a motorcycle.
she had a motorcycle. Yep, she had a motorcycle. Uh, a motorcycle that could convert to like skip across the water too. Like, yeah, yeah. It was the Planet of the Planets has a lot going on. I mean, there is a lot going on. They all have their own individual uh, cars and stuff. They don't.
Uh-huh.
They're not like Power Rangers where it all converges. It does all converge. It all goes into the ship, but it
Yeah,
doesn't.
there's a
Yeah, it just
similarity to
doesn't.
Voltron in a
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
because you got each of the vehicles, they end up a part of the ship, which makes the entire Phoenix, which is one of the most awesome ships ever. I love the
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix.
Yep.
And especially when they go into the fiery Phoenix.
Yep.
And you ever notice that no matter what they do in the show, that Tiny always pushes that lever up. He never pulls it back down, not one time. You could go through every single episode of Battle of Planets.
It's just an automatic reset. Don't worry about it.
Oh, is that
Don't
what
worry
it
about
is?
I don't know. I'm a writer. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
But it used to drive me nuts. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this, and you see Tiny push that lever up, and then we're gonna do this, and Tiny pushes that lever up, and I'm always like, when does he pull it back down? It never gets pulled back down. It's so funny, but my favorite was Mark. I always liked Mark, and maybe that's because Mark was the leader of the team and all that stuff. And Mark had the plane. I love the airplane, and then that always landed into the back of the ship and kind of made the wings on the top of the ship and everything, which I thought was cool. And then Jason, he had the race car, which was also super cool. And then the race car went into the front of the ship, and then the cone closed over the race car, which made the front of the ship. And then Princess, her motorcycle would go up in one wing, and then that's when the wing would go up. And then Keop, he had that weird tank looking thing. I don't know what you called that. Crazy vehicle though. And then that went up in the other wing, and then of course Tiny flew the ship. So Tiny's vehicle was the ship. And, oh man, fantastic show. I'm glad you brought that one up. Man, sometime we should just do an episode on Battle of the Planets. That would be fantastic. Of course, I haven't watched it in years, but yeah, cool. And now, did you watch the Japanese Gatchaman versions at all?
I've seen some of it. I have it because I can't think of who made it, but it's out on. You can get a Blu-ray set of it. but again, you have to watch it with the subtitles and the original voices, because the
Right.
voice acting they put on it is god awful. I mean, it's just god awful, especially compared to like Casey Kasem doing voices back in the day. The voice acting they put on it is trash. But if you watch just the original Japanese and you're okay reading the subtitles, which we all pretty much are, then it's very fun. It's very
Well,
fun. And it's a different experience because you don't have the breaks of Seven's Arc 7 sort of resetting the story,
right.
it's a very like, hey, it's giant monsters are happening and we got to go, man. But it's hyper creative. Like all of it is just hyper creative all the way through all the episodes all the time. So that's one of the fun things about it. And then there's a continuity to the storytelling as well. Far more in the original Gatchaman than Battle of the Planets, because Battle of the Planets was just like, let's just adapt this stuff, man. Like, let's go. But in Gatchaman, you find out what the hell's the guy's name? The Red Pulse guy. You find out that that's Mark's dad, and Zoltar is we won't spoil it, but Zoltar has a secret as you go through and you get to the end. You find out Zoltar's secret, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of that was way, way more deep because there's way more episodes. They didn't adapt all the episodes in America.
Right.
So if you watch all the Gatchaman stuff, you get a very different experience than we got in America. So.
Yeah, because I think they changed a lot of the storylines for America too.
Yeah,
so.
because they're just trying to adapt it as a week-to-week story versus like a ongoing continuity thing.
Well, and like you said, there was a lot of violence that was not acceptable on American television for children at that time in the 70s. And so, they cut a lot of scenes that were in the original Gatchaman.
Yep.
That weren't in Battlestar Galactica, Battle of the Planets. So cool. All right. Okay.
Yeah, even Robotech did the same thing. Robotech had a bunch of crazy stuff. Although Robotech people did die. In Battle of the Planets, they did two things. You never watch people die, really. There's usually scenes of cities like on fire or whatever, and they're like, it's terrible and people are evacuating. But they would also be like, they also made a point of making sure that you knew that the planes were robot controlled, not people controlled. And the Spectra bad guys are all robot dudes. So when they're getting knocked out, like, don't worry, those are just robots. It's fine. But then in Robotech, they were offing like main characters. So it was like and that was the 80s. It was a very different time for that stuff. But even if you watch the original Robotech or Macross, whatever, still has more violence. It actually has nudity in it. And just extra stuff that gets cut out for America in the 80s. So but yeah, Robotech is fantastic. It's definitely something that if you're in that realm of like, I like this type of stuff, it's definitely something you should be watched.
Yeah, I never watched Robotech. I don't even remember when that was on here for me. Because I remember I watched Voltron.
Sure.
that was pretty big. I liked the Lions version of Voltron better than the Vehicles version.
Sure, yeah. Everybody did. Did. It's just more. It's just better design. It's just more unique design to have lion arms than just making arms out of blocks. So yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of my, I guess, Robotech would have been Voltron. I was more Voltron. I liked He-Man a lot too. I was a big He-Man fan too. I didn't collect any of the toys or anything. I kind of wished I did now, because I think some of those are worth some pretty big bucks if you got some of the original He-Man action figures and stuff like that. But He-Man was a fun show. I think they're coming out with a new movie of He-Man too.
Yeah.
You don't sound convinced though.
Wow. I mean, it's going to be better than what we got with it has to be better than that, but yeah, I'm not holding my breath.
Well, at least give me a good looking Skeletor. That's I want a cool Skeletor.
I don't know that matters. I don't know that matters. might be nice, but I don't know that it matters. I mean, everything else that I've seen so far, and granted, I haven't seen any footage. So whenever you're seeing pictures of like, this is an on-set picture or whatever, like none of it's lit right. None of it's like what you're going to see in the final execution of the film. So you kind of have to take it all with a bit of a grain of salt. But, just from a design sense, I'm kind of like, I don't know, man, this is not jiving with me right now. So we'll see.
Gotcha. Well, and nowadays you can't trust a lot of pictures. I mean, is it good?
True. Yeah, very true.
Is it real or is it AI?
True. Yeah. But it's, when you look at it, just as an example, I've seen the Tila costume and I'm like, this is wildly boring. This looks like it just came out of Attack of Titan. It's just this brown and white pantsuit thing. Like, I'm like, there's no fantasy element to this, right? Like she doesn't have the snakes involved in it or anything. Like, it's just like, is that what we're doing? Or is maybe there's a snake costume later? Like maybe there's, like I said, maybe it evolves, maybe they're going to a different dimension or whatever, and you get more design. But I'm a design guy, so I want to see the design. I want to see that heavy fantasy design element. And so far I haven't seen anything that comes close to that. It's sort of like this new Tron movie, right? It's okay, but bringing spoiler alert, bringing the Tron people to the real world, that's cool for like 8 minutes. And then I don't care anymore, right? I want to be on the grid. That's the whole point, is take me to the grid. So I like that. So the concept of it, of like, well, we're bringing the grid here. Like, okay, I'm game, except I've already seen pixels, guys. I've done this before.
True.
It just, like, again, it was okay for a while. But then it's just like, well, look, here's a ship going through the city. Like, I don't care. The best part of Tron. Did you see Tron, Aries?
I have not. I think Steven went to see it, but I haven't seen it.
It's a watchable movie. There's not really anything wrong with it, but there's not really anything grand about it either. Like, you just kind of like, well, all right, I just saw a Tron movie, kind of. But the best part for me that I was like, oh, this is incredible, is they went back to the original grid, the original 80s grid. And when they're in that environment, that's design, that's craziness, that's what we don't see all the time. Okay, I was like, yo, this is Tron. Like, oh my God, like, take me to this grid again. We need to do a movie in this original 80s grid because this is the stuff. So that was unbelievable. I was so happy that they did that. But the rest of it was just kind of like, yeah, good CGI. It's fine. Like, Jared Leto wasn't a problem. He was just kind of, he was just there. He just did his job. He's like, all right, I'm Ares. Yeah, cool. But yeah, it is watchable. If you're a Tron fan, you'll probably enjoy it because it does Tron things. But it doesn't do enough Tron things for me to make it like.
Does it have light cycles?
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, of course. Okay. Of course. Yeah. At
least it has light cycles.
Yeah. So. Oh, it has all kinds of crazy, techno things going on. So like I said, like, visually it's cool, but I think when a lot of that stuff, when it gets mixed into heavy, just our world, it sort of loses some of its value. It should be the opposite, right? It should be like, oh my God, it's like this stuff now exists in our world, but it's like, yeah, but I don't want to see our world. Like, I see our world every day.
Right. Exactly.
Right? That's not what I'm here for. So that was for me. I was just like, I was interested that they were coming into the real world. How are they going to pull this off? What's it going to look like? Oh, it looks kind of cool, but I want to be on the grid. Like, take me to the grid.
Yeah, you go to the movies to escape, not to be in the real world.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the main event, and we'll talk about what we're here to talk about this morning.
It's time for the main event.
All right. Let's see if I put us on a different panel. Maybe I get my background back. Oh, here, put Tom back up there. Hey, how about that? Look at that. All right. I got my background back. Steven will be proud of me. All right, now let's see if I can do something else without breaking the whole thing. And let's put your website or your Kickstarter up, I should say. Add to scene. Make you a little bit smaller. Make me a little bit smaller. And move that up. Move us in front. Oh. Well, fudge sickles. All right. Goodbye. Oh my gosh. Steven, I'm so bad at this. It's his fault. I'm blaming him. Even though he wasn't feeling good this morning. All right, that's the best I can do, I guess. Oh well. All right, so we're here to talk about Tom's latest Kickstarter, which is BD15 Anthology, and I'll let you explain exactly what BD15 Anthology is.
Yeah, so Big Dog Inc. is 15 years old this year. So back in a couple years ago, we did a BD13 anthology. It was meant to just be sort of a fun play on like PG-13. So we were like, oh, BD13, let's just do a little anthology. And when we did it, people really enjoyed it. And they were like, you can do this again? I was like, I mean, I don't know. Like, do you want me to do this again? So we did BD14 last year and we did BD15 this year. So it's become an annual thing. It allows us to kind of do stories with some of our books that aren't regular books for us. So we can kind of move in and out of some different storytelling and keep things a little fresh as we're, like next year, we're going to be focusing on Oz a lot. But this year, so the BD15 anthology this year, since we launched it in October, we wanted to do kind of a more of a horror heavy type of an anthology. So the first book or the first story that's in it is a Critterverse story, but it's based on the vampire critter that we have. Her name is Nosferaltu. And
okay.
So this is Jason Hare and Todd Vertice doing the colors. So we got a few pages that you can see there. So this is an alternate critter in an alternate reality, but those that know the critter story are going to see sort of the parallels of where we've been with this already in the original critter story, but now we're seeing it in this alternate aspect. The yellow priest right there is an obvious sort of parallel to Yellow Jacket from the regular series. Even this shot right here where he's choking her out underwater, while it has a different purpose for this story, this moment actually happened in the Critter series that we did back a long time ago during our High Tide storyline, where Yellow Jacket and Critter were fighting and he was holding her underwater. So there's a lot of little weird parallels, sort of almost like Mandela effects, right? It's like, hey, we've kind of seen this, but it's a little bit different, but it's all there on purpose. It's all there to serve a purpose for the larger story, as well as, create what we need for this specific story.
Cool. I love his mask. His mask looks super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
yep.
And then what do we got here?
This is also the first appearance of two. Well, the Yellow Priest, that's his first appearance as well. But he's a tangent from, like I said, from Yellow Jacket. There are two actual new characters in that first panel there. On the left is Sister Pentecost, and on the right is Medusa. So that's their first appearances in this in the Big Dog universe as a whole. So there every time we do these BD anthologies, there are first appearances of characters, or in some cases just brand new stories, like in this particular one. So yeah.
So now the vampire critter, how did you Nosferatu?
Nosferaltu. So it's like, so it's like a feral cat.
Cool. Okay. Because Critter is a cat.
Yep.
All right. So is her only books in the anthology, or can you get other books of
this is her first solo story. So she's made tiny appearances in the regular Critter series, because we kind of, as the Critter series goes along, we kind of show like these alternate versions in like, memories and flashbacks and stuff. Like, like she has this sense that this all exists. But this is Nosferaltu's first solo story.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do you foresee her having an ongoing series from here?
No. There won't be any ongoing series for any of these parallel characters, but there will be more stories. I do have something that I want to do very specifically with her at some point. I don't know when that'll be, but a lot of that will kind of depend on the reaction to people to this story too. Like if they come in and they're just like, yeah, I'm just not interested in her, then I can move on. But if people are like, oh, I need to know more about, what this particular version of Critter is, then we can come back in and do more. So there is definitely like a mini series that I have in mind to do for her. But it'll be a minute before we get back to her. Because again, next year is the 15-year anniversary of Oz, our Legend of Oz series.
Right.
So we're going to be very heavy on Oz next year. But the doors will open up again, once we get through next year. So if you like the Vampire Critter, if you like the Nosferaltu, there's so much more to the design and like story behind this Vampire Critter than we get even in this story. This is a very quick 10-page hyper focused story, but when we actually get to talk about her origins, like what sort of powers come with her vampirism and so on, I have some really specific ideas for all of that, and I'd love to get back into it at some point.
Cool. I like the idea of her. She sounds interesting. So I kind of want to learn more about her. And then of course I know. Go buy the
go buy the book.
Right. Okay, so now we'll move on. So this would be the next one. This would be
the second
versus zombies.
Yep, second story is Princesses versus Zombies, which is a series we've been running. But this one also is a focused piece for one of the princesses, and this is our Pocahontas story. So Pocahontas in the main PVZ series, we learned that she's a cosplayer. And so we wanted to go a little bit deeper with the origin and the story of Pocahontas. So she's Pocahontas if she was a vampire. That's the mashup that this character has created a character. So for Halloween, she is Pocahontas, but it's Pocahontas if she was a vampire. So that's the shtick. And then when she's in the main story, she messes around with the kids all the time. Like the kids are like, you're not like a real vampire. And she's like, are you sure? And she'll like smile and show the fangs and, stuff like that. So she's like fully immersed in the character that she's, created with her costume. So, and we have this little scene here where she's, talking with her parents, and her parents are like, what the hell are you doing now? So it's a cosplay story where, because I know a lot of cosplayers, and I hear a lot of their stories about how people don't understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, even within their family, their parents, whatever. They're just like, I do not understand any of this. So, we're telling a zombie story. Yes, there are zombies in the story too, but we also want to give you one of the things that I think is that works the best for the entire Princesses versus Zombies series is that it is character based. It is character driven. All of the characters, Mrs. White, Cindy, Pocahontas, Bella Rose, Jasmine, they are all hyper characterized. So they are all completely different from each other. They all do different things. They all speak different ways. They all have different ideas of how to sort of survive the zombie apocalypse. And I think that's what makes this book work above all the sort of zombie glut that we get. Like usually a lot of zombie stuff is just like, well, it's just zombies running around and they're killing people. And then you've got a few survivors. And, that's what I think makes really great zombie stuff is you've got to have these characters. It's like, I really like Zombieland. Like those characters are fantastic in Zombieland. Yeah. I like the Dawn of the Dead where they're in the mall. All of those characters are so just polar opposite of each other that, it's fun to watch them all kind of interact. So that's where we did with Princess versus Zombies is, it's going to be sort of this girl book where they're all running around in their sexy Halloween costumes, but at the same time, they're more than just their costumes. There's a really great scene from the last issue that we did, that when I was writing it, I was like, this is really good. I think this is really good. Like what's going on right here. And when the book came out, I got messages from people specifically about the ending of the book. And they were like, yo, what are you doing? Like, this is crazy. And it's such a great scene. And like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yes, I nailed that one.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I feel like I really have a real handle on all of these characters. And we basically do like one aspect of Princesses versus Zombies kind of per year, like whether it's a full issue or whether they're in one of these anthologies or whatever. We kind of
I know you've brought up Princesses versus Zombies a few times on the show,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't sure where you've placed them at. So
Yeah. I really enjoy the world. I kind of enjoy coming at it piecemeal too. Like, let's do an origin here and let's do a full story here and let's do this. And then you kind of let the people kind of piece it all together in like a giant jigsaw puzzle. So like this story actually is a prequel to the beginning of the story, because we're right at the beginning of the zombie sort of uprising or whatever. So this is sort of like really the start of the whole story, even though we've done like 5 other issues already. So it's fun to kind of move around. It's almost like Pulp Fiction. You're just kind of moving around this world and telling the story as you need to tell it. So that's been fun to do.
So what are the other princesses that are involved? You got Pocahontas.
So it's Mrs. White, Cindy, Bella Rose, Jasmine, and Pocahontas. And we do have an Ariel. She has a rough time of it. We'll just leave it at that. Being a fish during the zombie apocalypse is not your best costume choice. So, yeah. So those are our keys. I have some ideas of how to kind of expand it a little bit, but I don't want it to become so overwhelming with characters that we lose sort of the core. So that's really going to be our forward story is sort of the group of them kind of banding together, Avengers style, and then, surviving the zombie apocalypse, of course.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll move on to the next one.
And then the third story. Yes, this is the third story. This is brand new. Everything with this is new. This is called Amityville Sorority Sisters. And it's a very specific throwback to the stuff that I grew up with in like the 70s and 80s horror movie stuff. So this really came about because I was watching a Quentin Tarantino documentary where he was talking about the 80s were a repressive time for film and horror stuff. And I was like, what? That's not how I remember it. And then as he started
all kinds of horror in the
80s. There was a lot of horror, but what he's saying is if you go backwards and you go back into the 70s and you look at what was being done in the 70s and a little bit of the 60s, and then you compare that to the 80s, he's very, very right. The 70s was far, far more violent, far, far more over the top, far more.
Really? You think so?
100%.
I mean, come on, let's
100%. 100%. Because the 80s, but this is his point. The 80s generated franchises. And when you have franchises, when you have franchises oftentimes have to rest under specific needs of the franchise versus just being crazy. And that's why you have Friday the 13th, right? That stuff's just all the same. It's just all the same all the time, over and over and over again.
Friday the 13th, Halloween,
Halloween is the same
Nightmare.
all the way through.
Oh,
Also,
I
they're
don't
not,
deny that.
but that's what I'm saying. They're not particularly gory. In fact, they were heavily, heavily edited. When you watch any documentaries about like Friday the 13th, they'll be like, God damn, the editors were like, you can't show that thing going through his throat. You have to
But
cut
if you
this
go
and you have
back
to
to
cut
the
that.
70s, you still got Amityville Horror. I believe that started in the 70s, and that turned into a series.
Yeah, but there's no, but that's not what he's talking about. That's you
okay.
have to go deeper into the 70s. And I'm not going to have any examples because the movies that he talks about are I'm like, I don't even remember what these movies were because I was a kid in the 70s. So I didn't,
Yeah, me too.
I wasn't coming up with this. I came up in the 80s. So that's what I understood. But stuff like, God, what is it called? Last House on the Left. It's just like, if you go, just do yourself a favor and start to look back into the 70s, specifically what they call grindhouse horror.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Where none of that is franchise stuff. Some of it's been remade over the years, but none of it's like we
Sure.
made a movie and then we made like 6 others because it was popular. It's all way, way harder. It's way more bloody. It's way more gory. It's way more noisy and just uncomfortable. Whereas the 80s, while we
80s
were
became more slasher. The 80s was more
80s was slasher, but 80s became it was in the 80s where things became consumer, right?
right.
You're selling toys and merchandise off of this stuff. Like there's no toys for Last House on the Left, right? It became a consumer sort of setup. And it's not to say that this stuff is bad. Like I still think the first Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street is a fantastic movie, right?
Oh, I agree.
It's a great movie. But again, it was a consumer culture type of thing in the 80s. Everything, I mean, not just horror movies, but like everything became consumer culture in the 80s. So,
Well, John Carpenter never meant for Halloween to go past the first Halloween.
right. Sure. Absolutely.
He meant it to be one and done.
Right.
And then Halloween did so good that the studio was like, well, we got to make another.
Sure.
And he didn't really want to be involved in it, but they kind of forced him into it. So he helped write the second one. And then when the third one came around, he was like, look, I want to do something different. I don't want to do, the same thing I've done.
The third one was supposed to be the whole point of Halloween. It was supposed to be every movie was a different
right
sort of scenario or whatever.
Anthology type thing.
Right. But because the first one was never marketed that way, and then when they did the second one, they just threw the idea away. When you got to number 3, even though number 3 is a wild and bizarre, crazy sci-fi movie just in and of itself, people were like, well, wait a minute, I thought this was Halloween, so where's Michael Myers? And so then they had to come back, and with 4 they brought Michael back. Again, consumer culture, right? Consumers rejected that because they wanted what they already had.
Right.
So Tarantino was talking about this in these documentaries, and I was like, this is really wild, and I'm going to go back and look at what the hell he's talking about. And there's a great Grindhouse documentary on Tubi that everybody should watch, because it'll really give you a sense of like what Grindhouse films were in the 70s. And he was talking about how Hollywood and films go through these eras of like, repression, and then like, let's just let it all out, and then repression again, and let's let it all out. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. So as he was doing that, and I'm not a big Tarantino fan. Let me also clarify that. There's like 3 movies that he's done that I actually legitimately like. But what I do like about his films, regardless of whether I like the film itself, is I really like the intensity of his dialogue. Like he really knows how to put words in people's mouths so that they, sound great. And he hires great actors to do the lines and stuff. But I really got hung up on the Tarantino method of things, of writing and all, and then again mixed with like this idea of like 70s, man. Yeah, this is interesting. So I came back to both of those things with the piece that I enjoy, which is the Amityville Horror Story. I've always liked that. The original movie is really good. And I just love the idea. I've studied the Amityville Horror for years and years and years, like the real Amityville Horror, not just the movie, but like the entire story. And it's just insane. It's just ridiculously insane. None of it makes sense. There's this story, and then that's recanted, and it's over here, and then this guy's saying, "Well, no, my lawyer told me to said that," and then the Lutz family is like, well, we wrote this book, but then they made a movie that's not really the real thing, and this is the real thing, and it's just like, what is this? What is going on? So the real Amityville Horror Story is crazy. There's all kinds of documentaries on that. Go watch it if you want to. But I just went back to the basic idea of like, okay, here's a house. It's haunted. What do we do with that? And I took that, set it back into sort of the 70s/80s, which is where I came up with films. And we created this wild, hopefully, story about a sorority that exists within the Amityville Horror House. So
okay.
it's going to be very sort of nostalgic, I hope, sort of 70s and 80s nostalgic. It does take place in the now. It is a now film, but
Right.
I'm trying to create a feeling of, 70s and 80s horror type of stuff as we go through it. So, but it really is a mix of kind of everything, because I'm just a horror fan in general. So it's got a lot of, there's a lot of like stuff from the 90s sort of feel to it. There's some element of slickness, but then like when I wanted to get an artist to do it, I wanted an artist that kind of had a more raw and unrefined sort of, and I don't say that in a bad way. Jesse Witchman is a great artist, but his line art is a little rougher than some of the other guys that I work with that are very smooth and very clean and very whatever.
Okay.
So I wanted that rough sense to it, which Jesse was perfect for. And he hadn't done any work in a long time because, with COVID and everything.
What other work has Jesse done?
Well, he's primarily cover artist. So he's worked for us for many, many years. He's done stuff for Lady Death and for Witchblade. And, he's been all over the place.
Cool.
But he hadn't been doing work for a while because he's been focused on his tattoo studio, and just, COVID happened and everything kind of just, we just kind of stopped. So I just reached out to him. I was like, look, this is what this is. Read the script. Tell me if this makes sense to you, if this is something you even want to do. Cause he doesn't do a lot of interior stuff. And he came back to me immediately. He was like, yeah, I can work with this. So I was like, yeah, I knew you would be, I knew this would be right in your alleyway. So he was like, yeah, let's go. So, looks great so far. Chuck Obach on the colors, which again, we go back to sort of that 80s lighting style, like a lot of the blues that we used to have. Now everything's just lit bright and yellow and whatever. It's like, nope, we're coming back. We're doing the old blue stuff, like John Carpenter did the blues with Halloween. So it's a really huge blend of stuff. But at the baseline of it, it's Amityville horror, 70s and 80s. It will become, it'll be that sort of like bloody horror that we would expect from the 70s and the 80s, 70s more so. But then also blended with sort of what I call the Tarantino dialogue that I kind of tried to learn, like, what are these people saying? Why are they saying it? Why is it relevant? And that's one of the things in Tarantino movies. Sometimes it just doesn't feel relevant to me. Like, I'm like, you are on some weird, like, why am I watching this scene? I don't understand. And then there's other places where I'm like, God, this is locked in now. Every line I am locked in on this. So I kind of tried to find a weird middle ground of like totally chaotic Tarantino dialogue and purpose and locked in. And somewhere in the middle is the really fun stuff where you can kind of be wiggling around in oddity, but it can also have a purpose for pushing the story forward and telling you who the characters are. because that's the best thing that Tarantino does do is he tells you who these characters are, and so that's kind of where I was kind of coming from that side of him. Like, I want this dialogue to maybe be weird and sort of I don't know why this matters, but it matters because it tells you who the character is, and that's the important part.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was a lot. That was a lot, man. You like that was a lot. Holy smokes.
So we
Yeah.
got our money's worth there.
Yeah. So Jesse's
So-
doing a great job. It's a beautiful looking book, and so what this is going to be, all of these stories are 10 pages, right? With the Amityville sorority sisters, it's 10 pages. It's sort of the immediate origin of all the characters, but it's going to lead us to next October, next Halloween, where we do the full 40-page complete Amityville sorority sisters story, the whole thing. So
Oh, wow.
this is just sort of a taste of what's to come, and then we do the rest next year.
Oh, cool. Okay. So those are the main three then. You
Yes,
got
that's
Critter.
Liberty, Chelsea, and Penelope
Oh,
are the
okay,
are the characters. Basically, they're at a football game out of town. They call up an Uber to take them back to Amityville. Dude shows up, and then on and on and on and on. So, yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right. And the three main stories are Critter, Prince.
Nosferaltu, Pocahontas if she was a vampire, and Amityville sorority sisters. Those are your three stories. 10 pages each, so 30 pages for the book. Yeah.
Okay. And so how is the campaign going so far?
It's good. We're right on the edge of just about hitting 10,000, which will unlock that first stretch goal. We've got 7, maybe 10 days left. We do short campaigns. We don't do like 4-week campaigns anymore. We do like 2-3 weeks at the most. And then this book also, or this campaign is actually for 2 books. So as we scroll through the campaign some more, you'll see that you have the BD15 Anthology, but then we also have what we're calling the BD Index, which you can see right there, which is the old school, like Marvel or DC Who's Who books, where you get an alphabetical listing of your characters and then like a description and, all that kind of stuff. So
I loved Who's Who. Those were such cool books.
Yep. So that's exactly what this is. Yeah.
Neat.
Yep. 32 pages, 32 different characters, 32 different artists. We didn't have anybody double up. So it's an artistic tour de force. It's purely alphabetical. So it's not like we're doing just Critter characters, just Oz characters, purely alphabetical from the Big Dog Inc. universe. So it starts and ends with Critter, just happenstance. We have a character called 9-Volt. So he's the first listing. And then Critter is the final listing in the book. And then you've got like the Cowardly Lion and Annabeth Alvgren from Ursa Minor, and the girls from Amityville are in here. The sorority is called Alpha Pi Omega, so they're nice. In here. There's Oz characters, Beauregard. So it's just a complete alphabetical listing. And then volume 2 will start with the Critterverse, so we can talk about characters like Nosferaltu and the other versions, Critterverse, but then it'll run down through like, I don't know, maybe letter F or whatever, and we'll just kind of keep going until we have all of our characters done in this stuff.
So you do see this continuing then?
Oh, 100%. 100%. We'll have the next one of these next year. I don't know exactly when, but we're already starting to work on the next one. So yeah, this will be a series that we do to have the complete Big Dog Inc. universe described and new art for every piece. None of the art is reused art. It's all just brand new art, new people. There's a lot of first time BDI artists in here too, which is great. So yeah.
So now this is the first reward. And
that's your basic book right there. It's got the logo on it. It's actually a wraparound cover. So it's an old Adam. Cool. Yeah, it's an old Adam Hughes poster that he did for DC Comics. We kind of use that as our base. So it's an homage to Adam Hughes, but it's all characters all the way around, all the way on the back. That's Eisenhower.
Well, that's kind of like the Who's Who comics. They did the same thing. They did a a
Correct.
wraparound cover for those were some of my favorite DC comics, because it was just so fun to open those up and look up your favorite character, get the stats on the character. I mean, at my feet down here, I have what I call the Marvel and DC Bibles, and they're very similar, but
Mhm.
they're hardback books filled with, their characters up to a certain point. I don't
Yep.
remember what year those were done.
Yep.
So this is a lot like that. That is a really cool incentive to purchase. I like this. Neat.
Yeah.
Good
So
idea.
if you are back in the campaign, guys, remember there are 2 different books. So if you pledge for the BD15 one that you want, you still need to get the index if you want the index. So
Okay.
and you'll see that in the titles, like it says right there, BD index, and then the other ones will say BD15. So you'll know that you're in the different books.
Gotcha. And then this also includes the digital, correct?
Yeah, all the books include the digital copies. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
And that's not something you do often. You only do the digitals for the
We only do digitals
right?
for Kickstarters. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want the digitals, this is the way to get it. All right. Should we move to the next one?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So, this is one of the artworks you sent me. I didn't end up using it for my thumbnail, but this is one of the ones you sent me. So,
Well, yeah, if you want to go back to the campaign, you'll actually be able to see this a little bit bigger too, and just keep scrolling down past this. We'll get into the bigger pictures that they have. And then we'll have right here, you'll have the stretch goals. So we have 2 magnets, 2 5-inch magnets that Bunley Young does for us every time.
Cool.
So we'll be getting close to those to unlock. We got a couple of those, and then after that, you'll see the stuff. So here's the covers. This is to start. This is the BD15 stuff.
Okay. And this is you surrounded by your characters, which I think is
Yeah,
hilarious.
that's from our camp crossover book that we do. Yeah.
Right. That's cool.
So there's your basic book. There's all the characters that are in the book. And then that image, we've done the same type of image for all the previous books. So they all connect together like one big street, like they're all hanging out on the same street. So, and you'll see that a little bit later, but that's your basic book right there.
And I like the Amityville house in the background. So is that the sorority house then?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Nice. So it looks like the Amityville horror house then.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. All right.
And then there's Pocahontas if she was a vampire. So all the variant covers are limited to 100 copies. That's done by Hedwin Zaldivar.
Okay, cool.
And then that is Liberty, Amityville sorority sisters. So she's in the house.
Oh, and you can see the famous windows behind her too.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
And then there is Nosferaltu. That's done by Mike Crome and Elmer Santos.
Nice. Very good covers.
And then this is our, we did this last year, the Big Dog Ink bikini team. So here we have our bathing suit team. This is actually an homage to something that Michael Turner did for Aspen Comics many, many years ago. They did a print with their characters with the Aspen logo on the bathing suits. So we did a little tribute to Aspen.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were our publisher for a while. So I wanted to kind of do a little nod back to them.
Actually, that reminds me of the old Budweiser campaign.
Yeah, same thing. Yes, right. That's where they got it from. Correct.
Cool.
Yep. And then there's the quick catch up. You can kind of see how they all link together, all the previous anthologies.
Oh, nice. So this you get all 3 of the anthologies.
Yeah. So if you haven't gotten the book, you can get them all together. Yeah.
But these are digital form; they're not physical.
No, you get them both either way.
Oh, okay.
Whichever way you want them.
Very cool. Very cool. Oh, and I'm not gonna show that one.
Well, just keep scrolling through. You don't have to worry about it. Just keep scrolling through. So there's a couple of 15-year anniversary books. So on the left is the Fast Times at Ridgemont High homage that we did by Pedro Perez. And then on the right is the all new Critter costume. That if you read Critter 25, you know why there's a new costume. we'll just leave it at that for people who haven't read it yet. But those
Okay.
are our 15-year anniversary sort of celebration covers. So we've got those available for you as well.
Cool.
And then this is the index. So the first little image there, you can kind of see that's what it looks like, what the pages look like on the inside. So you get a
Wow.
big shot
Nice.
of the character, a little something from the comics underneath them. And then it's, you get a description, a little history of who they are and what they do, and their first appearances, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that is super cool. I love that. And variant cover rewards.
Mm-hmm. So I think we have the whole wraparound cover here.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the
Okay.
whole.
Nice.
So that's the whole wraparound that you'll get with your basic book there.
Very cool.
Amityville Sorority Sisters, done by Brian Peterson.
Okay.
Blue Jay and Cricket. This is a new artist. Her name's Becca Whitaker, and we did a little Betty Page tribute with Blue Jay and Cricket.
Okay.
And then this is Adam Withers and Comfort Love. They helped design the original Critter way back in the day. So when I needed the new costume, I went back to them and I said, "Look, this is what we're doing. This is what we need." And they came through and designed the new costume. And then this is their first cover for us in
Nice.
15 years. This is the first cover that we got them to do for us. So,
is that cover an homage to anything?
nope.
Okay. I don't know. It reminds me of something for some reason. Okay.
And then this one is an homage. This is Antoinette and Bunny. This is an homage to an old Wonder Woman cover by Dick Giordano from way back in the day. Something I've always liked. So we did a little. That's Isaac Bell. That's his first cover for us as well. So that came out great.
Cool.
And then the rest is just kind of combos. Like you can get everything in one shot if you want. If you just want everything, boom, there's everything in one shot.
Gotcha.
There's foils. There's a few holo foils, and then there's if you're just new to the Big Dog Inc. universe, we have trade paperbacks and catch ups and stuff from the other books that we do, and then there's a whole bunch of art prints in there as well that we have available. So there's a lot of little extra things going on too.
Very cool. So now the project is fully funded at this point, right?
Yep.
So now it's just a matter of fulfilling each one of the rewards as we go along.
Yeah. Well, you grab whatever you want along the way. Like I said, I think it's 10 days left. I think it ends Wednesday, like a week from Wednesday. So I think there's like 10 days left, and then we're all done and we'll move on to next year.
All right, cool. So if you're interested in this, go to Kickstarter, search for either Big Dog Inc. or Tom Hutchison, correct?
Yeah, you could just put in BD15 and it'll pop right up. But I think if you can search for my name too, but I don't know that it'll bring up everything that we've done. I don't know if this one will come to the top or not, but if you just type BD15, it'll come right to the top.
Well, and I also put a link in the description for this. So if you go into the description for this particular video, you can get the link right there and just click on it and you're there. All right. Well, I think we've talked about just about everything, unless there was anything else you wanted to bring up, Tom.
No, that's pretty much it. We'll be next Saturday. I'll be at Akron Comic-Con with CB Zane. That'll be our last show of the year. So if you're down that way, swing out. It's actually it's a small show, but it's a Comic-Con. It's still really a Comic-Con, which is fantastic. So Akron has always treated us great. So, thank them for bringing us out every year. And then next year, starting in January, it's the 15-year anniversary of the Legend of Oz, the Wicked West book that we've been doing. So we'll be doing really, really heavy Oz stuff next year. A new volume. The BD16 anthology will be all Oz, including two new characters that have not appeared in the regular series. So we're working on that right now. So it's going to be a lot of Oz next year. And then also we'll be getting back to the shark book, It's Only an Island If You Look at It from the Water, that we're looking to release in June of next year, so over the summer. So there's going to be a lot of other things too, but it's going to be very, very Oz heavy next year as well.
Very cool. And I like Oz. I'm a big fan of that series. So, all right. Well, Tom, I really appreciate you being on. Thank you very much. I sorry that Stephen couldn't be with us this morning. He wasn't feeling great. He's been up all night with some acid reflux issues. So unfortunately he couldn't be there. And I know how that is. I've had those same issues and it sucks. It sucks when you can't sleep and then you get up the next morning. So that's the only reason he wasn't here today.
Yeah. Get better, man. Get better. We'll do it again sometime.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We'll definitely have Tom on again. All right. So this is normally Steven's thing, but if you are joining us and you want to learn more about us, please go to our website, which would be www.geeksmike.com. That's kind of our hub to everything in Two Geeks. You can find out about upcoming episodes. You can get to our merch page from there. Speaking of the merch page, you can also go to, oh no, sorry, that's our email. I'll find the merch page here soon. You can go to the number 2, geeksmikemerch.com. And we just got some fun stuff over there, t-shirts, mugs, so on and so forth. If you'd like to help fund and promote the show. And then, of course, we have our Ko-fi page, which there you can help promote the show also. If you just go to ko-fi.com, the number 2 and Geeks, you can get to that. We try to put some exclusive episodes up there. We're a little late getting one. We're supposed to do the Running Man here soon, so hopefully we get that up there soon. I'm got something special in the works for Ko-fi. It may take a little bit longer than I thought to get it up there, but I'm kind of hoping to have something. I don't want to reveal just yet what it is, but I got something coming up. So, and then of course, last but not least, how do I get the banner off there? Oh, well, who cares? Our Facebook page. Yeah, make sure and visit our Facebook page, our socials, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, and Instagram. We're active on all of those. I try to stay very active and make posts on those things, so you can catch us there. All right. With that said, any last words, Tom?
No, I think we said it all.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And please do not skip this episode, because we are much more better than the rest. Cheers, everybody.